Oh, and they've been screwing screws in this and doing things to this, but we're going to take it apart piece by piece. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and we're going to modify this to what I want to use it for. So here we go. Okay, first ones to take off are going to be, there's a couple of small ones here and here. Basically, there's the 1/4-inch nut driver. Find something to pull your little pieces in. I just usually use the cap for a. Got one, couple down in here in the corners. Alright, then when you take this one off here, because this bracket's going to have to be removed so we can take this apart. Remember, everything's going back clean, painted and cleaned again. Alright. There's one right here. One right here. There's one inside the metal. It's right there. Where'd it go? Alright, now it should lift right out. Just got to wiggle it out. Alright. Then, what we have for the heater core, and yeah, it's going to be gross. We're going to wash, ooh, look, archaeology. Alright, so we should have one brace here. Yep. Unscrew, and then one brace here. And actually, that was not in there correctly. It had popped and moved because this is supposed to be underneath. It was sitting like this. Okay, it's supposed to be up underneath that brace. So this actually was not in there correctly. But that's all your heater core is right there. This is an original. Yeah, this is the original. So this is from the factory. So brass or copper, probably copper. So that'll go back to this. That's going in the scrap heap. You take care of our little brackets and the bolts again. Everything goes in the cup because we don't want to miss anything. And we're actually going to clean this and paint this because it's quite dirty. All right, and including this bracket, we'll go ahead and take this out. All right, and we'll clean and paint that too. And then this piece is just your flapper. This is the part when you're running and you hit the control, and you hit the control on the heat and air unit. That's the vent. That goes into cold, that goes into the hot, cold and hot. All right, and that's just controlled on your dash by a cable. All right, of course, lots and lots of bug guts here. So we'll clean this up a little bit too, give it a paint, but the gasket in here is actually pretty soft and good. So, and we don't have any structural damage. There's no breaks or cracks. So that's good. So that's a good piece. We'll clean that up. Somebody had used this thing as a screw box for quite some time. There's a bunch of just random screws in it where people were just hanging things on it from inside the dash. Okay, so I want to take this piece off because I'm not going to actually, I might use it and I might not. I'm not quite, haven't quite made up my mind yet. All right, so we're going to use this is connected by 5/16 right here. And then basically just, you can see it has a lip on it and it just lips in clips in there, and there's one screw holding it in place. And it's just a junk, garbage. All this stuff just collects up space anyway. So this is your main, basically for your foot heat, which I'm not quite sure I'm still going to use, but I still have some work to do. All right, I want to get you in here a little closer so you can see it a little bit more in depth. Okay, so this vacuum pod, open and close this door, all right, and it's broke. And this door has got a casing on it that diverts air out through the dash to the different vents. I'm not going to use this. All I'm worried about having on that truck is basically defroster heat. That motor is not going to make a lot of vacuum once like a bigger one goes in. A cam doesn't make a lot of vacuum, which doesn't help this work, because these are all based off of vacuum pods. These vacuum pods. All right. This vacuum pod works this arm right here. All right. And that arm, once you set the vacuum to it, that arm opens. That arm opens this door. Right. Once you put a suction on it, that arm will open that door, which that is your defroster head. So this is actually how it sits in the truck. So vacuum hits here, opens this door, and allows air to the defroster. That's how it works. You change your controller, vacuum goes here, opens this door, lets the hot or cold air in, out through the dash, and into your vents. Like I said, I'm not going to use that. So we're going to modify this. We're going to close this off. I'm probably going to modify this open and put a plate on this to shut this off. Okay, I gave her a quick rinse off. All right, now what I want to deal with is I want to deal with these vacuum pods, this one and this one, okay? Now, as you can tell, this one is broken. That tab for that pod is broken, so I'm actually not going to use that pod that's on the back side, so I'm going to take this tab off. And the easiest way to do this, it's just a textured nail that they pop through there in the factory. It's got one little screw here. These are hard to get out because there we go. I don't know if you can see. You got texture on them and they hold on like an alligator. But we're going to throw that away because they're just hollow. You can see it's just a hollow piece of plastic. And once they break, they're broke. All right, so that's that one. This one is attached to this flapper door for the defroster. And if you're not going to use the vacuum system on this and you're just going to set yourself up with you can just take these out, but you have to take this back plate off to get to all this. So we're just going to zip this off real quick. And there's just still the same 1/4 inch screws. And once you get all these, there's about 7 or 8 of them. It just kind of pops right off since you've already disconnected that from that door. And that's all there is to it. There's just it's a vacuum pod with some 10 millimeter, like any other screws in a deal, and it's got a support brace. But this is all there really is to the mechanism. And then got your door. This is your vacuum source coming out, which we're not going to need, so we can get rid of that. All right, then this is your mechanism. What do you know? We got hardware. I did it. Okay, and then as you can see, that's your pot, your vacuum pot, opening and closing that vent. So basically, the easiest thing we could do is just take that out of the mix and just seal this like this. All right, this is what I got done so far. I've got this plate in. All right, and I just flattened out, and it just sealed up so nice. Just a couple screwed very carefully through the plastic, a couple tabs I had, used some self tappers on that flapper piece, and sealed that bottom off. Now I'm going to run a little silicone along the edges, but other than that, that turned out really nice. And that is just the flapper plate that was here for the defroster. And so what I also have finished, this, I basically took a measurement of this surface right here because I want to seal this up from here. I'm going to lay this one in here. I just used a piece of old, I don't know what this was off of, but again, it's just, if you're a metal fabber and you got sheet metal, nice little solid painted, protected on both sides sheet metal, all I did was I snipped it, I straightened it, I flattened it, and I cut the size with the snippers. This happens that fast. And so I got my little plate here, and we're going to silicone here. I'm going to drill holes in the corners, and we're going to use self tappers basically into the plastic, nice and easy, and just seal this up. And then we'll run there's a hole on the bottom of this flap. There's a hole right here in this flap. I'll take a drill bit and I'll drill through it, and then I'll bolt it I'll take a bolt from this side into there, and I'll basically just hold it shut. That's will also help that plate stay in place because there'll be a bolt in the center of it holding it in place. So you'll have 4 on the outside and 1 in the center holding it in place. That will not leak. Drill the screws, use self tappers into the plastic. This nut bolt is into the flapper to hold it in place. I covered the hole with the vacuum pod that was here. I covered the hole, the vacuum pod was here. Everything is siliconed. This is that flapper bar that was in where this vacuum pod was for the defroster vent. So now this piece, and it's all siliconed, and I'm letting it dry. I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and we'll finish this up tomorrow. But this whole piece is now going to blow all the hot air directly to the defroster vents. If I decide I want, this is a very easy fix. If I decide I want a mixture of defroster heat and some foot heat, then it's just a matter of drilling a couple holes in here to let that heat come through in this plate. But other than that, this is completely done. She's not going to leak any air anywhere. I plugged all the holes, and so we're ready to put this back together again, but I need to let all this silicone dry. So I'll see you in the morning. Okay, she's finished. She's put back together again. The heater core is in. Brackets are all back in place. Everything is set. Hot, cold, cold, hot. Ready to bolt up. Need to put a little JB weld on that stud. Keep that in place. Other than that, hole blocked off, hole blocked off, hole blocked off. Everything's siliconed. Everything ready. Hole blocked off. All the silicone is set. The only place this thing is going to blow warm air at now is to the defrost ducts. This is now a heater box set up for the hot rod, and it's just a matter of putting it in. If you guys know, there's only 2 bolts to it. Well, actually 3 bolts to it. It's just these 2 that go through the firewall, and then there's one right here. There's one right here that you go in underneath the glove compartment, and that one comes in from the inside through the firewall. That's it. There's only 3 studs holding this in place. So this is set up for, I'll be able to control cool air just from coming in from the vent, or hot air when it gets hot from the control in the truck. That's all there is to it, guys. It was just a little prep and some silicone and some priming and a little bit of metal work, and that's basically all there is to it. And so I turned my fully functional air box into just a defroster box, which is what I wanted. Now, if that's what you want to do, but you also showed you how to take this heater core out, and it's just the same thing as putting it back in. It's just 4 screws. Pull this out, flip it over. There's a band bracket and a holder bracket on the back sides. Swap them out, put it back in, screw the 4 back in, and you're done. Really not much work to it. The most fab work I had to do was making those plates and making everything sealed up. But it's an easy one to do. It was a afternoon, and I'm really going to enjoy how this works. So if you're still here, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Smash that like button. Tell your friends. Check out the links down below. Y'all have a good day. Because a good day today can be a new heater core tomorrow. Y'all be good.